In terms of his release, they said Combs would submit to drug testing. Prosecutors argued strongly against Combs' release. Prosecutors pointed to testimony from the trial in arguing why Combs should remain in custody. They said that his team did not contest that he was physically violent and a rampant drug user. In a letter submitted to the judge, the government said, quote, "A detention is mandatory following a conviction of this offense. The government has been unable to locate a case in which a defendant was released from custody following such a conviction."
Things behind those prison walls are starting to sound very strange. Quiet whispers coming from inside say that a nurse who has been treating Diddy while he's locked up could no longer hold back what she knew. According to these rumors, she had access to his private medical file, and what she saw left her shocked. The file allegedly contains pages and pages of serious health records, including reports about sexually transmitted diseases that Diddy reportedly never wanted the public to know about. These aren't just minor health issues either. People are saying the file points to long-term infections. This news has made other inmates uneasy because apparently Diddy hasn't exactly slowed down since being locked up. He's still showing the same energy he had on the outside. And to be honest, people had already started questioning his appearance and health before all of this came out. When Diddy showed up in court looking slimmer and worn down,
"You're telling me I'm HIV negative?"
Absolutely HIV negative.
But doctors warn his body is hanging by a thread.
You're endangered.
some people whispered that his weight loss might not just be from stress or bad prison food. They suspected something much deeper, maybe even a serious illness breaking his body down from the inside. Now, with Diddy's history of risky, unprotected encounters, more questions are rising about how many people could have been exposed to infections over the years. People are wondering if this isn't just a private health problem, but a quiet crisis that has been spreading through his circle long before he ever landed in prison. To understand how we got here, we have to go back a bit. This isn't the first time something around Diddy has raised eyebrows. One of the earliest red flags goes back to Craig Mack. If you know your hip-hop history, you'll remember Craig Mack as one of the first artists to help launch Bad Boy Records. He was supposed to be a cornerstone of the label, but then, almost out of nowhere, Craig Mack vanished.
You know, the next thing is, man, Craig Mack was the one that jumped Bad Boy off. And you know, and it got so bad that Craig Mack, who died from AIDS, that man, he got brainwashed so bad from Diddy and got done so wrong, the man went to South Carolina and joined a cult with his family until he died of AIDS a few years ago.
Years later, the public learned that Craig Mack had moved to South Carolina, where he joined a fringe religious group that many called a cult. He cut all ties with the music business, stopped performing, and faded into obscurity. What really shocked people, though, was when he passed away in 2018 from complications related to AIDS. That revelation sparked a lot of questions. People close to Craig Mack had said he went through deep emotional pain before leaving the music industry. Some believe he didn't just leave because of music politics. They think he saw something or experienced something that pushed him to retreat completely from the Diddy lifestyle. Craig Mack went from flashy hip-hop circles to living in isolation, dedicating his life to worship and ultimately dying from a disease no one expected. Now, in light of the current rumors about Diddy's wild behavior and alleged health risks, people are beginning to connect the dots.
Real black neighborhoods, so real black families could have that opportunity just like everybody else.
I mean, he actually caught HIV, like having like a lot of women.
Oh yeah, let's just go down the rabbit hole of all of his sins.
I'm just saying.
You wanna know what's wild about that though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop doing what he's done.
He an advocate. Now he did that. And
period. Listen to me. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable? G?
Come on.
In the game.
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names.
According to recent reports, The prison nurse who supposedly viewed Diddy's medical file says the reality is even worse than people think. The file is reportedly full of red flags, not just basic checkups, but signs of ongoing infections. The nurse claims Diddy is battling multiple STDs, including herpes and possibly even HIV. Once word about that file started moving through the prison system, the atmosphere reportedly shifted. Inmates began talking loudly about it, and tensions started to grow. Some prisoners are worried because Diddy isn't exactly keeping to himself. He allegedly has a group of admirers even behind bars, and in a prison environment, protection isn't easy to come by. Add to that his dramatic weight loss and visibly thinner appearance in court, and people are starting to suspect his health issues are not new, but something that's been going on for a long time.
Died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms.
If these claims are true, this health scare didn't begin in prison, it followed him there. To understand why this matters, you have to look at Diddy's lifestyle on the outside. His private parties weren't the typical Hollywood get-togethers. People who've been there describe rooms full of women and men, wild setups, no real rules, and very little protection. When federal agents raided his homes, they didn't find medical supplies or safety kits. Instead, they reportedly found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, but no condoms, no protective measures, nothing to stop the spread of infections. People are now calling those parties disease factories, saying that Diddy allegedly invited all kinds of people into risky situations behind closed doors. Looking at the rumors, the infections, and how many people connected to those parties now face health issues, it starts to paint a much bigger and darker picture. Several women have recently stepped forward, claiming they contracted herpes from people within Diddy's circle. Not all of them named Diddy directly, but when you look at the timing, the overlap of names, and the lifestyle, a pattern seems to form. These women didn't just randomly decide to speak out. They saw the headlines about lawsuits, the leaked medical file, and the nurse's claims. They realized they might not be alone, and that this might not have been an isolated incident, but a whole system. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get messier, singer Jaguar Wright dropped a bombshell. In one of her most candid interviews with Real Life Productions, Jaguar claimed that Diddy has been living with HIV for some time. And not only that, she said he's not the only one. According to her, there's a list of about 20 other men in the entertainment industry who are infected. She's keeping that list close to her chest for now, possibly for her own show. But her claims sent shockwaves through the industry. While she didn't reveal names during the interview, people online immediately started guessing. One name that keeps coming up is Usher. Let's take it back to the Flavor Camp days. Usher was only 13 years old when he moved in with Diddy in New York. Usher himself told this story during an interview with Howard Stern. At first, you played it off as lighthearted, but when Howard pressed him, Usher's tone shifted. He began choosing his words carefully, calling it a curious environment, and even said, "I wouldn't let my kids go to Puffy's Flavor Camp." That statement alone raised eyebrows. Combine that with the lawsuits Usher faced years later, accusations of knowingly infecting multiple women and even a man with herpes, and the timeline starts looking messy. When people remember how young Usher was when he went to live with Diddy, it raises the question, did something happen back then that shaped the chaos that followed? Then there's Jonathan Auty. His name might not be familiar to the public, but for people who've been following this story from the shadows, he was one of the first to speak out. A former adult actor, Auty made headlines in 2018 after he snapped and opened fire at Trump's Dorado Beach resort in Puerto Rico. Police were stunned until he started naming names. In the middle of his breakdown, he claimed he had been coerced into encounters with both Diddy and Cassie. At the time, most people wrote him off as just another unstable person making wild claims. But in recent court documents related to the federal investigation, Audi's photo reportedly surfaced as one of the escorts Diddy hired. Now, what once sounded crazy is being reconsidered in a completely new light. And then there's Kim Porter. This one hurts because Kim wasn't just another ex. She was Diddy's longtime partner, the mother of his children, and someone who stood by him through years of scandal and chaos. When she suddenly passed away in 2018, the shock was enormous. Fast forward to now, and whispers have begun that some insiders have seen parts of her real autopsy report. They claim it showed she was HIV positive. If true, that revelation would change everything. Just as Diddy's alleged secrets were getting heavier, the one woman who might have known the full truth was gone. People are starting to ask, is there a pattern here? It's becoming hard to ignore how many people connected to Diddy end up silent, broken, or disappearing. How many were paid to keep quiet? How many signed non-disclosure agreements, accepted hush money, or were scared into going away? Because Diddy didn't just have power, he had enough money and influence to make problems disappear and keep names out of the headlines. Consider Meek Mill. When a man named Lil Rod accused Diddy of living a double life full of secret relationships, he mentioned a Philadelphia rapper who used to date Nicki Minaj. He didn't say the name, but everyone instantly thought of Meek. Shortly after, Meek jumped on Twitter with a string of cryptic posts saying people were trying to silence him, attack his brand, and push him out of the industry. He even offered $100,000 for an investigation, but many didn't believe it. They said it felt like damage control, as if he was reacting to something happening behind the scenes. Then, a video surfaced of Diddy and Meek looking very close. Diddy was smiling, calling him daddy, and praising him. After that, an audio clip allegedly leaked from one of Diddy's former bodyguards, hinting at something intimate between the two. While none of this is direct proof, the pattern is familiar. And Meek's not the only one. People have pointed fingers at French Montana, YG, even Usher again, all rumored to have taken hush money or received a warning not to speak. Even inside prison, the whispers haven't stopped. Word from the inside says Diddy isn't just sitting quietly in his cell, he's still moving like a celebrity. Reports claim he has a group of inmates fighting over who gets to make his bed, bring his food, or do favors for him. But that's not what has people nervous. The same sources say Diddy is allegedly getting intimate with some of these men. In prison, where regular access to protection is almost impossible, this has sparked real fear. If the medical reports are true, and if he is carrying something serious, this isn't just gossip. It's a health risk inside the facility. Some guards are worried. Inmates are gossiping. The energy around Diddy isn't just about fame anymore. It's about fear. So now people are asking, how deep does this go? How long has it been happening? And how many lives has it affected? This story isn't just about one man's private life anymore. It's about a possible pattern that stretches back decades. What do you think about all of this? Could these claims be true? Or is it all rumor and speculation? However you look at it, the rabbit hole keeps getting deeper. This story just keeps getting darker, and it feels like every day a new layer is exposed. What do you think? Are these shocking claims real, or just rumors gone wild? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.